guys. Hey, so another Ask the Nutritionist question coming at you. I decided to record it because I'm having some internet issues. It's not allowing me to go live. So we're going to do it this way until we can get that figured out. So I've got a lot of awesome questions and I don't want to let any of them go to the wayside because I know people are waiting to hear their question. So this question came to me, and it's someone who follows me and knows how I feel about Gatorade. And so his question was, why do you not like Gatorade so much? So he full on admitted that he drinks it and he gives it to his kids. And you know what? Most people do. Most people do because they market Gatorade to the younger generation, and they use professional athletes to do so. They use those hometown heroes, those those role models that these kids look up to. So I'm going to be honest with you right now. You have been duped. These athletes do not consume this product. They are getting paid the big bucks to say they do, but they don't, because their body is a temple, okay, and they know how bad this stuff is. And so one of the many reasons that I'm going to cover is the amount of sugar that's in them. So one serving contains about 14 grams of sugar. So usually these kids are walking around with these big 32-ounce, 64-ounce bottles of Gatorade, right? Well, you know that's not one serving. So you're going to have to multiply that by what, 4 or 5 servings, however many it is. That is way overboard on sugar. And it isn't just the normal table sugar. It's heavy refined sucrose syrups and high fructose corn syrups, which are toxic chemicals, especially if they're using an artificial sweetener. So you've got the Gatorade where it says no sugar, and so everybody's like, that's great. Yeah, okay, well, they use chemicals to sweeten it. That's even worse. But because it's marketed in a way that make people believe it's a better option, we've got people switching over. So now they're just putting more chemicals into their body, which is causing more issues. It's causing bone disease, heart disease, blood disorders, joint disease. It's causing issues with memory and agitation. It's causing liver issues. These are all things that have been linked to these artificial sweeteners and the heavily refined sugars and high fructose corn syrups that are being used for Gatorade. Agitation is a big one. ADHD, the symptoms, okay, that are involved with in ADHD, they get horribly worse. With not only these artificial sweeteners and these heavily refined sugars, but also with the food colorings that they use, okay? These artificial food colorings are linked to the ADHD meltdowns. Oh my gosh, I've seen it time and time again. The athletes will give them a break. They'll go chug their Gatorade. 15 minutes later, they're in a complete meltdown mode. Like they just can't even function. They're crying because you're making them run, and then they're just fatigued and they can't get through the practice of the game. I've got people shutting down, at halftime, and we just can't get a second half out of them because they have consumed a massive amount of heavily refined sugars or artificial sweeteners and a ton of food coloring, okay? It doesn't do the body good, let me tell you. And then what happens is you suffer in performance. So, yes, electrolytes. Yeah, okay, they have electrolytes, but it is unreliable amounts of electrolytes, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because they have twice as much sodium as they do potassium, so it just makes Gatorade just an unhealthy candidate for beneficial electrolyte restoration in the body. It's just these unreliable amounts. And so that is why, those are some reasons why Gatorade is a big no-no for me. When I see somebody drinking it or a kiddo drinking it, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And you can't say anything, but in my mind, I'm thinking if they only knew, because that's the thing. Most people, they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. That's why I'm bringing it to the forefront. That's why I think it was such a great question that was posed. So, The last thing that is in Gatorade that I want to tell you about that hopefully will completely shift your thought process on giving it to your child or consuming it yourself is the BVO. It's brominated vegetable oil, okay? They use this to create a better consistency overall of the fluid. And it's used to create lead dissolving additives in gasoline, that's right, in photography paper, fire extinguishers, the stuff that's in there, and fumigants that you spray on crops. So over 100 countries have already banned Gatorade and the BVO because it's so toxic and so horrible. Yet here we are in the United States, right? Sickest country in the world. Here we are, feeding it to our kids, consuming it ourselves, and we're like promoting it through our athletes. So, yes, I have an athlete at home. Do I give him Gatorade? He has never, ever, ever had Gatorade. Ever. We used Isagenix Hydrate. It's the only electrolyte drink that will ever be in my house. It's the only thing that I will consume, that I will allow my child to consume, and it's delicious. There is no artificial anything in it. It has very reliable amounts of electrolytes. The sugar is derived from beet fructose, so it's in natural form. You do not get a crash, but you get this really nice, just uplifting boost of energy. We use it at any time if any of us are feeling under the weather, and just need to kind of replenish a little bit. That's our go-to, that and water. I mean, the reality is none of us really are training and sweating as hard as professional athletes, so we're not really losing all of the electrolytes that we are led to believe we're losing. But usually your typical water will do the trick on restoring balance and keeping you hydrated. But I'm urging people, turn away from Gatorade. It's just nothing but a toxic fluid that you're putting in yours and your children's body. And it's scary, the results that can happen from years and years of exposure to it. So that's what I have for you. That's why I am a big anti-Gatorade, in that realm, sport drink. Powerade is just as bad. Yeah. So if you have any questions or you want to know how you can get your hands on this Amped Hydrate that I use in my home and that I also use in my practice, all of the athletes that I work with in my practice have all converted over to this particular sports drink. It's delicious. And it's a healthy version of electrolyte replenishing, so you have nothing to worry about. I am happy to answer any more questions about that. Reach out to me if you're interested in getting your hands on some of this stuff and giving it a try. I know that kids can be super picky, and if it isn't something that their favorite athlete drinks, they won't touch the stuff. But I think if they knew that these athletes really didn't consume it anyways, it would completely change their mind in that realm. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions, and we will see you tomorrow.